All right, all right, all right. Chapter. Okay, there we go. Okay, all right, there we go. Okay, I got it now. I got it. Okay. Screen this, and then I'm gonna move over here. And we'll play some. We're gonna play some like. We're gonna play some music real quick. Hold on. We're gonna play some. We're gonna play some. There we go. There we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. So this book is called Morning Wood. Everybody loves large chests. Um, God, I'm actually kind of nervous to read this book because I don't know. I don't know. But here, let me change out of my let me change out of that. So that way I look a little better. All right, so we're gonna read this book as agreed, and be patient with me as I am very much dyslexic. So, okay, so chapter 1 of Morning Wood. Everybody likes a large chest. Oh, let me change my category real quick. It's over here. Yes. Okay. Just chatting. Just chatting. There we go. Done. All right, we up in the just chatting category now. All right, there it is. All right, all right, all right. So this is chapter 1 of Morning Wood. Everybody likes large chest. All right. Chapter 1. Dead comes in many forms. Part 1. After enjoying its first meal, the mimic lets out a small burp and went back to pretending to be a treasure chest. It spent the first 5 days of its life in this very spot, patiently waiting for a chance. Having fulfilled its purpose, it simply continued to sit there, slowly digesting its victim. Mimics were very good at imitating chests. Slight sight alone was insignificant to determine if this monster was a genuine article or not. After all, it looked exactly like a wooden box that was 18 centimeters long, 35 centimeters tall, and 40 centimeters on the side. Hi, Isaac. We're currently reading a book called Morning Wood. Everybody loves large chests. This is the first book. I did agree to do this during the subathon a few weeks back. I finally actually went and bought the book, so it's we're reading it. All right. Okay. So where was I? Okay. God damn it. I've lost my. Oh god damn. I've lost my train of thought. Sure, honey. Your category's still for fall. My category's still for Fallout. No, it's not. I know it's not because I just changed it for just chatting. Here, let me make sure. Let me take sure. Twitch. Where is yeah, I've been just chatting. See, we good. Okay, see, you tricked me. How dare you do the trickery on me? All right. Okay, so we were right here. We were about this right here. So it's like a wooden box that was 80 centimeters long, 30 centimeters tall, and 40 centimeters on the side. Its skin was a light oak-like fluxwood, with imitation steel reinforced on its corners and a half-cylinder lid that served as its upper jaw. You have suffered a swallow cut. -4 HP. A shallow cut. Another strange window popped up into your consciousness. Although it somehow understood the words, it lacked the brain capacity to process their meaning. The hell? Okay. Not that I had any intentions of doing so right now. The sword was still a problem that needed to be dealt with. It approached the sword. What the hell are you talking about? It approached an inanimate weapon warily, carefully observing it. It was normal iron sword. Might be something interesting in Discord server. What do you mean might be something interesting in Discord server? What are you talking about? Hold on. There's nothing going on in Discord server. Stop making me look at stuff! You keep tricking me. I will not lose my concentration. Alright, where were we? God damn it. Although somehow okay, that's just saying it was dumb. Now it's observing a sword. Okay. Weapon, warily, carefully observing it. Especially Adventure's table channel. What? In the guild hall? There's no Adventurer's table channel. Oh, the tabletop? What are you talking about, Isaac? What are you saying? Ping you on it. Sure, ping me on it. That's an old one. You're a part of this server? From way back from way back, this is such an old server. This is such an old server. It's updated now. It's updated now. It's not on there. Hold on. Let me invite you to the actual server, Isaac. Let me invite you to the actual server. Hold on. Here you go. Hold on. Let me invite you to that. Hold on. Let me get you to the actual server. This server's old. That server's old. I need to close it down. It's not active. Hold on. Let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. And paste. That server's old and inactive. Join this server. There you go, buddy. There you go, buddy. That server is old and inactive. I need to close that one down. It's really old. That's a really old server. Let's see here. Join that server, Isaac. Yeah, like I said, I need to close it down. We got all that stuff on the new server, on the other server, on that server. I need to close that down. Or you could disjoin that one and then join into the other one. And it'd probably be better for that one. Alright. Let's see. Have you joined? There we go. There we go. I approve. There you go, buddy. Hello, Isaac. Welcome to the guild hall. All right. Where was I? I was reading. I keep having to read. I'm trying to read here. All right. Okay, hold on. The sword. Okay, hold on. Another strange window popped up in its consciousness. Although it somehow understood the words, it lacked the brain capacity to process their meaning. Not that it had any intention of doing so right now. The sword was still a problem that needed to be dealt with. It approached the inanimate weapon wearily, carefully observing it. It was a normal iron sword, completely mundane and entirely unmagical in every way conceivable. As expected of a beginner's equipment, so that a level 2 monster had any idea what it actually was. The mimic recalled that the way its breakfast had struggled a little while ago, the adventurer was holding on to a strange object without hurting himself. His fingers were wrapped around it, much like how a mimic attempted to do so. Attempted to do. The only difference was that the mimic had grabbed the pointy end by mistake. So the mimic, the box is really stupid. The mimic is really, really stupid. Realizing its blunder, the monster warily stretched out its tongue again. However, the fleshy organ was a bit too thick to properly grip onto the short handle. The creature briefly considered this effect before simply wrapping its wide tongue into a more tentacle-like shape. I have no idea. I was told that this was the book that I had to read, so I'm going into this blind and without any type of prerequisite as to what this book is actually about. But again, the book is called Morningwood. Everybody loves large chests. Mm-hmm. The more I hear it, the more 50 Shades I feel. Mimics were technically speaking a species of shapeshifter. Granted, they were not as good at it as other monsters. Something like wrapping their tongue or sprouting small legs to move around was an extent of their abilities. Now that its tongue was in a proper shape, the animated chest wrapped around the handle of the sword and picked it up safely and held it above itself. Its numerous legs moved in unison, rocking the chest-like body left and right like it was doing a little triumphant dance. So its little box, I'm just imagining it's just a little box, and he's like doing a little jig. He's like, I have a fucking sword. It's like that kid who ran around. If you guys seen that meme with the little kid, he's like, I got a knife, and the mom's like, oh my fucking god, he's got a knife. The intelligence attribute was had been created through the special action, Intelligent +1. Another mysterious window, it completely ruined the mood, causing the mimic to stop its little celebration. Still, it now vaguely understood the thing it was holding onto was a weapon. It moved it around by using the tongue in lieu of an arm. Why do they have to lieu in lieu of an arm? Who the fuck speaks like that? Brimming with curiosity, it swung the sword downwards onto the floor, and it made a big clank. Somebody throw a pipe at me so I can simulate the sound of the sword onto the floor. The blade slammed onto the stone floor, letting out a clear bell-like sound. Yes, it sounded much like this. That's exactly how it sounded. Thank you, Neo. I appreciate that. Letting out a clear bell-like sound that echoed through the cave. There was a tiny crack on the floor, which didn't escape the mimic's notice. Did you hear that? Yes, I definitely heard it. The distant voice made the mimic freeze, and had gotten carried away with its new toy and attracted attention. Yeah, it definitely heard something. Come on, let's go check it out. Is this the mimic talking to itself? Another voice followed. Although it didn't understand the words, the mimic clearly recognized there was moving. They were moving closer to its location. It quickly retreated back to its spot and sat down. However, there was a serious problem. It's still holding the sword with its tongue. It had serious doubts whether it should try to eat it, and there was nothing around that could be used as a hiding place. Not sure of how much time it had, the mimic did the only thing its tiny mind could think of. Part 2. So we've made it through a whole chapter. Hell yeah, I'm proud of myself. I actually read an entire chapter. I'm a fucking boss! Part 2. Two sets of footsteps approached from one of the tunnels. The mimic followed its instincts and stood perfectly still, lying in wait. The man and woman entered its perception range? Is that perception? Yeah, perception range. The blonde man was holding a sword and a lantern, wearing a similar clothes to the monster's first victim. The brown-haired woman wore a plain white robe and held a wooden staff with one hand. Ooh, okay. So who is this? Oh, it's the man. Oh, a chest! The man yelled out like an idiot. That's just me. I just added that part. Oh, a chest, the man exclaimed. He approached the mimic with rather carefree gait. Hold on, Ron. It could be a trap. I'm guessing that this is the woman. The woman grabbed onto her companion's collar while warning him of danger. A trap? Come on, Gloria. It's a box. What's the worst that could happen? The rumor said something about mimics appearing in this dungeon recently. Monsters that look like chests. You can't be careless. Wait, this is supposed to have only bats and rats, right? How come there's mimics all of a sudden? I don't know, but shouldn't we be careful? Our lives are on the line, you know. Damn. So Gloria is telling that guy, hey, don't touch that chest because it's a monster. And the guy's like, dude, shut the fuck up. I know what I'm doing. Gloria's green eyes darted between her Oh, so it's our brother. So the guy, so this is brother and sister. While new types of monsters appearing in the dungeon was not unheard of, was still quite rare. The cause of such changes was unconfirmed, although likely culprit was the appearance of a new dungeon master. Oh, so what? How did is that them saying it, or like? Hold on. What? How would they know this information? How would they know that there was a new dungeon master? Okay, whatever. All right. Okay, this is him talking to his sister again. All right, sis, tell you what. Your big brother's going to stab the big mean box just to be sure, okay? Wait. He's gonna attack the fuck is this? Ron reassuringly patted Gloria's head. Maha, don't patronize. Oh, wait, that's okay. So this is Gloria again. Gloria, don't patronize me like that. We're not kids anymore. This is him. Fine. I was just kidding. Jeez. Sheesh. The mimic had no idea what was going on right now. Its new prey had shown up and stood idly instead of going straight for the prize, like the first one. It heard voices and saw the faces, but understanding what these people were saying and doing was impossible. When the slightly plumper one, the box isn't The box isn't like, so the mimic isn't distinguishing between boy or girl or like adventure to adventure. He's just like, okay, that one's fatter than the other one. That one's bigger. The big fat one. I'm gonna eat that one. That's funny. That's funny. The slightly plumper one started approaching again. However, this time something was off. The man was holding... So wait, he knows between man and woman. He's just calling him fat. He's calling one fat and one skinny. He's just thinking about eating. The man was holding a sword. Something the mimic already recognized as dangerous. And this sword was not hanging idly by an adventurer's side, but was held squarely in front. The mimic instinctively understood its prey had grown suspicious, and suspicion was a shapeshifter's worst enemy. Ron approached closer and closer. Once he got within striking distance of the chest, he slowly lifted his sword arm in preparation to slash the wooden box. Worst case scenario, he blunted the blade a bit. Best case scenario, he avoided a deadly trap. Thank you, Isaac, for the head pats. Thank you. Even if a fight broke out,
my advice to you: start drinking heavily.
Thank you. I will drink right now. Ooh. Okay. Okay, back to it. Okay. Thank you for the hydrate. I appreciate that. Get some drink in. All right. Best case scenario, he avoided a deadly trap. Even if a fight broke out, he was confident his swordplay could handle the weaklings in this cave. The mimic, on the other hand, had extremely limited knowledge of sword fighting. It knew exactly two things about the subject. Pointy bit hurt, and swing it downward can break rock. So the mimic is thinking like a caveman. Pointy and bad. Swing it downward, break stuff. Both of the tidbits made it realize just was about to happen and felt concerned. And like any concerned beast, it lashed out. Hi, Scarlet! We're reading a book! Just as Ron was about to perform an overhead strike, the wooden chest before him sprang open amidst a row of... What is this word? Serrated. Okay, I had to read the other words to guess what that word was. Serrated white teeth and the undiluting flesh tongue. The undiluting flesh tongue. That is a thing that I never thought I would read in my life. It's a damn mimic from FNAF. There was a flash of something shiny, followed by piercing pain in his abdomen. Ah! He screamed at the top of his lung. The mimic stabbed him clear through the stomach. Wait. This guy was warned by his sister, hey, don't fuck with that chest over there, that's a bad idea. And he's just like, nah, I got this. And then he goes, thinking it's just a regular chest. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna humor my sister, and I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna show her what's what. And then his ass gets fucking stabbed through like a fucking shish kebab by a fucking box. You know how embarrassing that has to be? You have died to a box, sir. The mimic was a monster that survived on deception. Its it instinctively knew leaving evidence behind was bad, that it had to appear as unassuming and unspoiled as possible. Jesus Christ. But eating this weapon was dangerous, possibly lethal. So, with nowhere else to put it, the monster ended up hiding it in its mouth cavity while gripping onto the handle with the tip of its tongue. And now, these trustworthy instincts caused it to lash out and land a devastating blow with on its unsuspecting victim. So wait. Okay, so he has landed a blow. He has killed this guy. This guy is dead. No, wait, he's not. Okay, strength. Attribute created through special action +1. Wisdom. So he's gotten more smarter. Proficiency and a proficiency level increase. Sword mastery is now level 1. Strength +2 and dexterity +2. So wait, so he's got extra strength. So his strength is +3, his dexterity is 2, and he got a little bit smarter. Okay, run! Gloria shouted. Hold on. She gripped the wooden staff with a determined expression and mumbled something under her breath. She completed her incantation with her hands glowed with a soft light. Quick heal! I guess she's. I'm assuming she yelled this. I'm assuming she yelled quick heal. What universe is this with the whole game stats? Dude, I wish we had game stats in real life. That I could, like, imagine jobs, like you go to fill out a job application and it's like, what are your stats? Do you have +20 strength? If not, you can't work here. Do you have +10 intelligence? Imagine how fucking ridiculous the interactions in real life would be if we had IRL stats. You could just be like, hey brother, can I just check your stats? And you see the guy's like got 2 intelligence and you're like, oh yeah, you definitely need to be breaking rocks. All right. After uttering the command word, the light shot out towards her brother. Oh God, I don't know why that was tripping me up so much. Enveloping him. However, it was not enough. Even a low-level priestess like her could not mend that sort of injury with just one cast. She could still buy time to get another hold on. Oh. Divine light. Yes, mage. Yes, she's casting quick heal. All right. Even a low-level priestess like her could not mend that sort of injury with one cast. She could still buy time to get off another quick heal. I don't know how to read this part. What is it? Just cough? Is he coughing? He spits out blood. Oh, great. He felt reinvigorated by his sister's healing magic that restored a sizable chunk of his rapidly depleting vitality. He used a bit of strength to swing his sword arm downward, but didn't put any real power behind the blow. With just gravity to assist it, his sword simply bounced off the mimic's solid teeth with a small clank sound. You suffered a minor scratch. -1 HP. No. So what's going on is the mimic had a sword. So from what I'm understanding, the mimic had a sword, and this guy, Ron, ignored his sister's plea not to go towards the chest, saying that there was potential danger of mimics in this dungeon. Turns out that the sister was right, but this wasn't just any mimic, right? No. So what's going on? So the mimic, right? The mimic had just killed an adventurer earlier before these two walked in, and he had eaten the adventurer's body, but he couldn't eat the sword, so he took the sword in his tongue and gripped the handle with its tongue and hid the sword inside itself to try to hide the fact that he had just killed and eaten another adventurer right before these two walked in. And the sister warned the brother Ron. Gloria warned Ron, saying, "Hey, don't go up to that thing. There's a possible mimic, right?" And so the guy was like, "You know what? Fine, I'll believe you. I'm gonna humor this. I just think it's a normal fucking box, but you know what? I'm gonna be safe." So he takes out his sword, and right as he's about to like hit the box, what he thinks is a box, which is actually a mimic, he thinks it's just a box, and he goes to attack it. But as soon as he thrusts forward with his sword, the mimic pulls out the sword out of its body, holding it with its tongue, and stabs him clean through the fucking stomach, all the way through his back, and then pulls the sword out, and then like fucking proceeds to like back away, and now he's got a fucking clear sword wound straight through his stomach, out the other side of his back, and his sister's freaking the fuck out, casting healing magic as fast as she can, and he's doing what he can to kind of like try to not die, but he's weakened, and when she casts the magic, it doesn't do anything but basically close up his wound. So he's still weak, and he tried to attack. I usually imagine mimics as like oysters, with a shell and a tongue. Not bro got himself stabbed. Yeah, it's like a little fucking guy inside of a box, and he's controlling. yeah. It's not how I imagine him either. All right. So he just now swung on the mimic, and he was too weak to actually put any power behind it, so he did basically no damage to the mimic. He did nothing to this fucking mimic. He just basically just annoyed the fuck out of him. Having been attacked, the mimic broke out in a stupor. Out of the stupor it had been in. It knew about these swords. It knew about swords now. Its knowledge that flooded into it from the skill was almost too much for its tiny mind to bear, so it took a while for the monster to adapt to it. Quick heal came a shout from the side. The enemy had regained a bit of strength again. I was about to attempt another strike. However, the mimic already had him in checkmate. It pulled on the sword with a bit of dexterity. Instead of sliding it out of its fleshy sheath, it dragged its victim into the mimic's waiting jaw. Crunch. Oh no. What? That time I got reincarnated as a mimic in a dungeon. Now I have to eat the strongest title. Yes. Due to swordsman, it can't use a sword. Right? So wait, did he just eat Ron? Am I comprehending this correctly? Did he just extend out his tongue and was just like, fuck killing this guy with the sword. I'm just about to eat this motherfucker. No, Ron! Gloria shrieks, her voice echoing in every direction in a dark passage. Crunch! Munch! Her dearest brother, that goofy but relatable guy, was now being eaten right in front of her. Blood and guts gushing all over the place, with his thrashing feet going limp. This motherfucker stretching the skin so mimic smart enough that dude just a snack. You, she screamed. She was outraged. That much was obvious. However, she was a newbie priestess. and her offensive magic was practically non-existent. If her opponent was one of the undead, she might be able to do something. Against this particular monster, though, she was helpless. Not that her mind could process that right now. Kill you, you piece of shit! She screams this at the mimic. She was too busy screaming in her grief and anger to do anything else. The mimic stopped chewing once it made sure its prey was good and dead. It spat out the mangled corpse back at the it chewed up the mangled corpse back out and readied its sword. The tiny legs at the bottom reappeared and it scuttled quickly towards the shrieking woman. So wait, it's just like, you know what, fuck you, bitch making sound? You time to fucking die, bitch! It was over. Glory had realized her folly entirely too late. She started an abjected, how the hell do I say that? Abject horror? She stared an abject horror as the mess of teeth and flesh in front of her swung a bloodied weapon around. She somehow mustered enough strength to turn around and run away, but it was too slow. Was too slow. The mimics pierced through her chest from behind. No, please! No! Don't kill me! She struggled weakly, desperately, beginning to begging for salvation. Such a thing wouldn't come, though. All that awaited her was despair and a large number of sharp teeth. Crunch! Level up! Level up! Level up! Congratulations, you are now a level 4 mimic. All attributes +4. Proficiency level increased. Sword mastery is now level 2. Strength +2. Dexterity +2. There it was again, the weird window. And now the mimic had intelligence, and wisdom had reached 5. It was finally able to understand. The window was telling the monster it had grown stronger. Crunch, munch, munch. This is actually a pretty good book. I gotta admit, this book is actually pretty good so far. There it was again, the weird window. Okay, we were right. Crunch, 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 munch, bunch. Okay. That was the extent of the revolution, though. Objectively speaking, this individual was already a genius compared to your average mimic. But in the end, that didn't amount to much. Even now, it was way too busy eating the remains of its last victims to care about such things. After swallowing up the woman, licking up any spillage on the floor, and crushing her wooden staff in its teeth, it went back to mangling the male corpse and repeating the process. A few minutes later, the gruesome scene was completely erased. All that could be seen in that oddly flat section of the dungeon tunnel was a simple wooden chest with a tip of iron blade poking out from behind it. Ooh. So he's just like, yeah, just another day. Just a normal day here. It's just a normal day. It's completely fine. Everything, nothing to worry about here. Nothing to worry about here. Not at all. I'm it's fine. Part 3. So we're already on chapter 3 now. The giant's rat's head splattered against the rock ground. Bits of brain and skull flew everywhere, staining the floor and the wall with of the green zone tunnel. Bongo grimaced at the pointless mess it had made, lifting his left foot. The short, muscular dwarf shook a few times in futile attempts to shake off the filth He gave up and settled for scraping off the remains of the former rat from his sole of his armored boot. Okay, so we're on a completely different... What is this, a different adventurer group? He sighed dejectedly. So basically he's like pissed off. He's like, he knows there's nothing but he could do, but he's still kind of mad. Even if he could kill the monster by simply... Even if he could kill the monsters by simply stepping on them, they were still a nuisance. After all, no matter how weak an opponent, washing off the blood and guts from his metal graves took the same amount of time and effort. The same could be said for the rest of his full-plate steel armor. But alas, the small creatures in this weak dungeons were only tall enough to stain his lower half. So he's going around. So this dwarf is in this like low-level dungeon. And he's like, yeah, fuck, shit, I still gotta kill these fucking monsters, but God, I don't really want to get the blood and guts all over me. I gotta sit here and clean this shit off of me. That takes time, not really even worth my effort. So, he's just going around stomping fucking rats and just getting blood, guts, and fucking body matter squirted all over his fucking pants, and he's pissed off about it. Which is... But honestly, it's kind of based. I completely understand. Look, Val, I'm telling him... Wait, his name is... So this guy... Wait, hold on. Is his name Bogon? Oh, Bogon turned his head towards his human companion. Look, Val, I'm telling you, this job's a waste of our time, he complains for the umpteenth time. You're free to fuck off at any time, Bogon. You're the one who insisted on following me here, she reported. The black-haired, black-eyed woman who was too busy inspecting the remains of 5 giant rats around him to pay attention to his whining. Besides, she continued, it's not a waste of time if we cause all of the if I can find the cause of all these disappearances. I give you the case. Bloody greenhorns don't know what to fuck they doing down here. What is he, like, fucking some retarded? Why is he talking like he's got some retardation of English? They get full of themselves and end up in a rat's belly. I don't know why, but when I'm reading this part, in a belly, when I'm reading this part right here, I'm literally thinking of Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. I don't know why I'm reading. That's how I'm imagining. That's how, you know what? That's how I'm voicing Bogon in my head. It's just the guy. It's just Fat Bastard from Austin Powers. I give you the cause. Bloody greenhorns don't know what the fuck they're doing down here. They get all full of themselves and end up in some rat's belly. You gotta imagine he's just like this short, stocky, super, like he's jacked. He's strong. This guy is strong, right? I'm imagining him like a dwarf with like a beard, and he's got like full plate armor, and he's got like a helmet on. He's got like boots on that have metal on them, and he's just pissed off that he has to go in this fucking place where he's getting dirty, and he's got this chick with them. So no boobs. No, this guy is a man dwarf. There is a lady there. I'm supposing she has boobs. I don't know. I don't know what she looks like yet, but this is how I'm imagining this guy. All right. It's not that simple. The mayor said they've lost more people in here the last 2 months than they have in the last 2 years combined, she answered without altering her gaze. Something must have snuck in here. Something besides the sudden influx of mimics. Ooh. I wasn't talking. What are you... Something besides the sudden influence of mimics. If I find it, it'll do wonders for my, I want to do my part in helping the newbies grow. Her eyes shone dangerously. Her eyes shone dangerously for a second before she tried to change her words. Bogon sighed again. That woman's eccentrics were always grinding his gears. If she wasn't a promising spellcaster, he never would have even bothered with her. But she was. He needed her help for his next quest, and he had hoped to dissuade her at first, but that hope was now rapidly deteriorating. After all, he just saw her true intentions shine through her facade. She obviously took this as more than a simple job. Bogard suspected she was hiding something ever since they teamed up 2 weeks ago. He had a pretty good idea that something was, what that something was. The muscle-bound dwarf. I knew it! He's not some fat fuck. He's actually a goddamn jacked dwarf. Was sharper than he looked. However, he also knew better than to poke his nose into strange woman's personal business. A necromancer wasn't someone you wanted as an enemy. Alright, so now he's gonna say, how can you be so sure it's not the mimics that showed up recently? He offered in desperation. The mimics here are young, so they're fallible. Feeble. Okay, the mimics here are young, so they're feeble, she explained. Their HP is only about 20 or 30. One good hit from any object, and they'll be at death's door, the wizard, and a wizard or a rogue would probably one-shot them with a bit of luck. Once word got out, mimics started appearing here, various adventure guilds acted. They made sincere efforts to educate and caution their newcomers about the new threats. However, sometimes these monsters became less and less of a threat in time. The threat was reduced to the point they ended up more popular than the wooden chests they were attempting to imitate. People these days were honestly disheartened when the box they attacked turned out to be just regular wood. They needed to defeat monsters to raise their job levels, so an easy kill was way more welcome than a scrap of worthless loot. Ooh. So they're farming these, they're going in these low level, so it makes sense. It's just like an RPG. They're going in these low level dungeons and they're attacking these really weak monsters to level themselves up. But in return, they're not really getting all that much out of it. They're just kind of raising their levels so that way they can go to better dungeons. Most newbies even stop looting and the disappointing boxes entirely. A chest would disappear into dust soon after its treasure had been pilfered, so leaving it was like a sign to others not to waste their time and effort on it. It was a sort of unwritten rule amongst them. Okay? In fact, okay. In fact, one such example was in this very tunnel, right next to Bogon and so we know the girl's name, Valera. A simple, unassuming box, closer to a crate than a treasure chest, stood against the wall. The rounded wooden lid had been cracked and with a long, straight dent, and was clearly visible on it. Someone had obviously already tested it with an axe or a sword. Valera, having finished her inspection, stood up and turned to her annoyed companion. The numbers go far beyond simple carelessness. At least 45 people have gone missing recently. Holy shit, this little mimic guy has been busy. 45 people. I know he's killed fucking 3, but now it's jumped up to 45? Holy fuck! Most of them reportedly seen heading towards this area. However, doing this is right. Whatever doing this is right here, and I'm going to find it. I'll be fine on my own once I get my familiars ready. So you can seriously fuck off now. So wait. This Valera is telling Bogon to fuck off because she wants to get this done, and Bogon doesn't really want to be a part of this. Ah, fine, Val, said Bogon dejectedly. You win. I'm going back to their town. Hit me up once you're done, alright? Pays good this time, right? I'm not working for peanuts again. You'll find out later, said Bogon, pulling out his portal key. They have fucking portals? What the fuck? Well, why the fuck did the girl try to run? If maybe not everybody has portal keys. He gripped this fist-sized stone. He gripped the fist-sized stone firmly, causing it to break and crumble. Oh, so it's like a tool. Okay, so the portal key, it's not an actual key. I'm thinking it looks like a fucking key. No, it's a rock. It's a rock that if he crushes it, it teleports him. That's kind of cool, I guess. The dust swirled around him for about a second before there was a flash of blue light. The armored dwarf warrior was whisked back to the waystone outside the dungeon's entrance, leaving behind only a puff of white smoke. Finally, spat Valerie. Valera? Yeah, I'm reading it, right? What a jackass. Why'd he even come here if he was just going to complain? Now I could do what I came here to do. So wait, so now she's laughing and cackling. I'm not gonna laugh and cackle for her. That's not gonna happen. Not laughing, not cackling, not going to do it. Valera grinned a wild, crooked grin and sat wrongly on her lovely face. An unhinged gleam shone in her eyes as she cackled. Acceleration filled her with the prospect of coming across a new type of low-level monster. To her, that was most likely predator of this disturbance. Probably something that lost its way and stuck in here, looking for easy prey. Valeria could not wait to get her hands on it. Ooh. She cackled for a solid minute before she was able to calm down. Her face quickly adapted the cool and collected facade she wore whenever people were around. She needed to be mindful of others. This was still a popular dungeon, so it was actually rather common to run into newbies who were still doing their first quest. Valera had been one of those same newbies less than a month ago. He stuck to a completely different part of the labyrinth's cave system. It would be a stretch to say she got lucky. So basically, she's like this girl is full of herself. I'm gathering. She straightened out her black apprentice robe she was wearing. It was a low-cut, short-sleeved dress-like garment with a knee-high skirt. The edge of the skirt were sleeves were decorated with black ruffles. So what, she was wearing some like goth-looking dress? Black leather bootlets and slightly raised heels to the fishnet stockings that continued up her pale legs, all the way to the lacy underwear hidden beneath her skirt. Why do I need to know that? Why do I need to know that she's wearing lacy underwear? On the whole, this outfit was entirely matched with its name. Okay. It didn't look a simple thing like the chastest robe would expect a priest to wear. That's because the robe in the item's name simply referred to a magical boosting ability bonus and effects, rather than the actual style of the garments. Truthfully speaking, the only thing that set Valera apart from the prostitute and the nearby town was the pointy, wide-brim hat and the faint stench of rotting flesh. That's so fucked up. That's so fucked up. They literally just compared her to a rotten prostitute. That's so fucked up. I love it. That's hilarious. Status, she chanted. A series of windows appeared in forefront of her consciousness. She quickly verified the information. General information. Valeria Vortina. Valera Vortina. Why do you have two V names? Okay, that's fuck. Human. So wait, she's a human? Okay, so she's a human, female, 21 years old. Member of the Order of the Black Wand, level 16 Necromancer, level 4 Monster. That's probably because of her monsters. She has 170 HP. She's used a little bit of her magic. Attributes. Okay, so she's a little bit strong. She's very smart. Okay, alright. Necromancer skill, level 5. Hexcraft, level 4. Forbidden power. Monster Tamer skill. Domination. Other skills. Taboo. Wait, what the fuck is the taboo skill? Hold on, wait a second. What is the taboo skill? What the fuck do you mean taboo skill? Alright, fine, I don't care. A necromancer with an overall level of 20 in a place where the average monster was lucky to reach level 3. She was unstoppable. Even with her pitiful physical attributes, she could still easily punch anything in here to death. This much was natural. Both jobs and skill would provide attribute boost every time the level went up. Training and raising these was the best way of raising combat power, although not the only one. It was also possible to train the body or mind to increase specific attributes, but it was not common practice. And the time it took for a warrior to gain 1 strength through the special action of physical training, he could also as easily earn himself almost 6 times as much through level ups. Okay. The difference in efficiency was simply incomparable. However, anybody looked at this status screen without knowing Valor would be left scratching their head. To begin with, a monster tamer was an odd choice of a secondary job for a necromancer. The latter was famous for using waves of disposable dead, while while the former revolved around the painstakingly raising a small number of powerful pet monsters, there were merits and demerits to either approach, but they both amounted to the same thing: having something else fight one's battles. Logically speaking, an adventurer would pick a secondary job uh, that either synergized with their main one or made them more versatile. Common 6 dictated that this particular setup was a very poor one. The truth was that Valera did in fact make a logical choice. A blight for a very different, a bit for a I don't know how to say this. I'll bet for a very different reason. The necromancer job, while well suited for solo adventure, caused side effects like negative faith, high proficiency level of taboo. This orchestrated these adventurers for most religious societies, which meant they would end up shunned and despised by almost every single priest, monk, and paladin. Even the Pasonic Sun druids would avoid contact with these self-proclaimed lords of death, and sometimes all these callings had in common was that they were healers. The job could instantly mend wounds and restore vitality through their magic. This meant that the necromancer never had a healer with them, which meant the vast majority of other adventurers avoided them on principle, after nobody in their right mind would be willing to risk their lives lives on a grueling quest without the safety net of healing magic. In a way, necromancers were almost always forced down the road of solitude, but that was perfect for them. Their desires were almost entirely selfish anyways, not to mention the questionable and unethical rituals that would sometimes perform were bound to shock and disgust others. Ooh. Alright. In a way, the necromancer's job was perfect for Valera as a person. The monster tamer job, on the other hand, was perfect for her secret hobby. After all, it was a simple fact that living monsters could do things that rotting undead were ill-equipped to handle. Maybe because the random cave troll that wandered in, Vela shuddered at the possibilities. Her facade was quickly breaking again. She cackled. Or maybe a werewolf. Either one would be perfect. The truth, there were several ways of being saddled with negative faith and taboo. To Valera, her necromancer was an excellent way of explaining her status to people with high level appraisal skills. If questioned, she would simply put "can't be helped," sort of an attribute to blow it over. In some ways, she is extremely fortunate as she acts committed, did not put something truly damning on her status screen. Sometimes, for example, a monster breeder skill. Ah, shit. Valera desperately needed a new toy. Her last pet, a level 7 Grey Wolf, could not keep up with her demands and simply expired. It was a good ride. So his owner found pity when the beast's life ran out from all of the abuse. Just remembering those long nights was enough to drive her wet. What the fuck? Okay. Oh god, she's moaning. Oh, I'm not doing that. She moaned softly. It had been too long since the last session she learned absent-mindedly against the wall, sheepishly snuck a few fingers in her damp haunches. Oh god. The 2 digits pressed against her sodden entrance. Sodden entrance, her lower lips quivering slightly in anticipation. Oh, Jesus Christ. She was in the middle of a dark dungeon where anyone could walk in. The excitement edged her on while she till she could no longer stand it. Her highly immoral fantasies ran wild. And just as she was imagining being penetrated, her dreams became reality. Critical damage sustained. Negative 145 HP. The overwhelming force of the blow has left you stunned for 5 seconds. The sword punched through the nape of her neck. The sudden thrust had driven the blade completely through her throat, leaving the blood tip poking out the underneath of her chin. You are bleeding heavily from an open wound, minus 10 HP. The entirely unremarkable, wholly non-magical lump of iron was pulled out of her, leaving a large vertical slit in her blood. So she was sitting there in the dungeon, fucking flicking the bean. She was flicking the bean wildly. What the fuck? So she's sitting there jacking off, not paying attention in a fucking dungeon, and this fucking mimic was like, fucking easy kill, stupid fucking bitch. Oh, God. She collapsed like a puppet with her strings cut and fell to the floor like a thud. You are bleeding heavily from an open wound. She split blood out of her mouth. Her head hit the ground. Her mind was still reeling from the effects of the stun condition, unable to comprehend what was still happening. You are bleeding heavily from a wound, minus 10 HP. She coughed weakly and the blood splattered against the cold stone the floor. She could not even mutter a scream before darkness took over her vision. You are bleeding heavily from an open wound, minus 10 HP. You are no longer stunned. You died. Serves that fucking crazy bitch right. Honestly, completely serves her right. Completely serves her right. We are on chapter 4. I'm gonna mark that down. We're gonna mark that down on chapter 4. I'm gonna mark chapter 4, right, with yellow. All right. We are on chapter 4. I'm gonna put this on right here. Chapter 4. Let's see. At time. Right now. All right, there we go. I'm gonna put that in the Discord. We are on chapter 4. We'll move on to this probably sometime later on this afternoon, but for right now, I do have to end stream here, unfortunately. It was so great for you guys to hang out with me. I hope you guys are enjoying the book. I'm finding it very good. I personally like the book a lot. This is a really good book so far. I'm enjoying it. It's getting better the more I read it. Bro can read. What the fuck do you mean? Have you not been here this entire time? I've read 4 chapters of this very smutty book. I'm glad you like it. I do like it. This book is very good. I will continue reading this probably later on this afternoon. But I currently have to go do some stuff. So anyways, I'll be back later. Like I said, I'm gonna be back. No, I was studying. That's your fault. That's completely your fault. You can go watch the VOD. Go watch the VOD so that way you can listen to me read smut out loud, struggling. Anyways, well, I'm gonna end the stream off here. We're gonna raid into somebody. Let's see who we're raiding into. Hold on. Who we raiding into today? Done. Shit. Ooh, where are we at? We raid, boys. Who we raiding into? Where's the raid at? Where's raid button? Where's my raid button? Raid a channel. There we go. Who we raiding into today, boys? Who we raiding into today? We are just chatting right now. Who we raiding into today? Let's see who we're following. Let's see who's up right now. Let's see who's up. Your mom. How dare you say this about me? How dare you say my mom is awesome? My mom is cool. What are they playing? Wait, trade. What are they playing? I guess we'll rate it to Hayden. Go say hi to Hayden and tell them that we're gonna continue reading smut later. All right, bye everybody. Go say hi to Hayden. Jump on the raid train. I mean, go. Go bother Hayden for a little while. Go mess with her. Do things. Throw things at her. Take her stacks. Bring them back to me. Those stacks are mine now. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you guys later. Bye.